Okay. Hey guys, it's Tiffany, and I'm here with a Colorado edition of Free Tarot Friday. So I'm on a road trip with my friend, and the good thing about tarot is you can bring them with you anywhere. You can read from anywhere. We have had a gorgeous time in the mountains. The moon was really looking so full last night. Some of you may have seen the picture in social media that we posted. But today, before we get started, I wanted to address that there is a big eclipse going on pretty much now. It's becoming exact within this hour. And so eclipses can sometimes feel like 100 days in one day. So I know that there's a lot of people experiencing a sense of urgency, this need to do something. Some of us are furious. Some people are just kind of at a 9, like they're not down here in the middle ground, they're like up here. And so knowing that as you go out into the world, or as you have your phone calls, or you're experiencing your family at home, it can be really helpful to know that everybody's not a jerk, that they're just experiencing some of this heightened energy. And so full moons, they bring closures, they bring endings, they bring that. So a lot of people are fed up, or they've had enough, or it's got to stop, and there's that feeling too. So it's in the sign of Sagittarius. I wrote a lot about that in my lunation forecast, in my June forecast. There's some posts up about it. So if you want to explore that further, please do. I wrote in my newsletter that everybody should kind of consider rewriting their life mission, because that's a positive use of this energy as it's in Sagittarius. This is the first eclipse. Like, we've had a lot of the last 3 or 4 eclipses were on the Cancer axis. This is the first one that's on the Sagittarius axis, right? So this is a new energy for us. A lot of people are asking political questions. Most of you that know me know that I don't make those kind of readings. It's just not my area. I tend to choose a middle ground. And there are lots of astrologers that are looking at the politics and astrology, and it is kind of fun to read up on. I'm just not your best source for that. So, all right, guys. Yes, I see in your comments, I'm seeing you in there. Let's get started. Let's look at, I was going to say Monday. I always just get spacey when we do this. Let's look at Aries. So for our Aries friends that are watching or might watch later, what do they need to know? Just what's some practical advice that can help maybe soften the edge, can give them a boost of confidence, can let them know that the universe hears them and sees them. What are we needing for our Aries folks? This can be Aries Sun, Aries Moon. All right, so this is the card that flipped out. I've started doing some numerology within my shuffling. It's kind of fun. All right, so for Aries, this 7 of Wands to me means that you might be feeling alone in the world, that you might not be feeling supported, because it's like, here's me on the mountaintop and all these people down here, and it's like, do I have to do everything? And so that can be the energy that you're feeling. So that's never going to be the advice, right? The advice is going to be the opposite of that. Like, how can you, Aries, be more inclusive? Have you failed to ask the other person's opinion? Is there an area where you could grow instead of just feeling alone on the mountaintop? Is there a way that you could incorporate somebody else's opinion, even if you don't really like it, even if you don't really like their idea, but that way you don't maybe feel quite so alone? It does look like you've got to chop wood and carry water this weekend. This is just doing something basic, something mundane, something ordinary. Often after I do my mediumship readings or my psychic work, I will do something very, very basic to kind of get me back into the real world. So one of my teachers vacuums, right? I don't necessarily vacuum. We have wood floors, but I'll do something mundane. I'll do the laundry, I'll do the dishes, I will get the house in order, I'll pay some bills, I'll do something very real worldly. And so that's another thing that you can do too, Aries. So let's look now at Taurus. What do our Taurus friends need to hear? Hey guys. Okay, so we're looking for Taurus, clearing for Taurus. What do our Taurus friends need to hear? Okay, All right, Taurus, it looks like you are facing some kind of decision, and there's some clear information about that. So here's the Two of Coins. We know, if you've followed me for a while, you know that I'm going to tell you that twos are always about a decision, a choice, a crossroads. You know, the road splits in some ways. We can feel pulled in two directions, right? This only in the cups do we feel the balance of the twos, where we're in harmony, where we're in our Libra energy, where we're balancing things out. But this isn't the cups, this is the coins. And so he's got two options that he feels are equally good, but he has to make a choice. You know, he's spinning this thing around and he feels like he's going to drop a ball. So there's a sense of urgency with this choice. So Taurus, we also got Temperance and the Hanged Man. And I love getting the Hanged Man for other people, right? I don't like getting it for me because I like being in action. But the Hanged Man means do nothing right now. So the cosmos is acknowledging, Taurus, you do have a weighty decision to make. It's not time to make it yet, because you actually need to slow your roll a little bit. This is the card of temperance. This is the card of needing to reel it in, because maybe you've been overeating, over drinking, maybe there's some hoarding, maybe you've got some piles going on. I don't know, right? I do know that you've got a decision, that you need to wait it out a little bit longer, and that you need to experience some kind of calming something down, cleaning something up energetically in your field. This could be drinking more water, right? Okay, so, and then checking in, you also got the Priestess card. Sorry, I almost put that away. You also got this card, which means, you know the answer. You were born wise. You don't have to check in with everybody else about this particular decision. It's always nice to get wise counsel. It's always nice to pause and pivot. In a meditation course I'm doing right now, they're asking, like, how do you make decisions? And it's worth considering, are you calling on the source of abundance, or are you kind of shooting from the hip, right? Like, are you incorporating God into your decision, or are you just kind of doing what seems logical instead of maybe leaning into the more creative, intuitive side? So there's a balance there. All right, we're looking now for Gemini. Clearing for Gemini. There's somebody weed eating the dandelions outside, and it is breaking my heart, and I hope you're not hearing that. Okay. Yahira says we're on point with Taurus. Teresa says, hello, Virgo from Austin. Thanks for your weekly readings. Some people are tagging some people. Deb's getting to see me live. Awesome. Scorpio's coming up. Tammy is saying thank you. She's an Aries sun, and yes, the first reading was for the Rams. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper now. Let's look into our Geminis. What do our Geminis need to know? I'm shuffling on the floor, not trying to be secretive. So we're looking now for Gemini. They too have a decision, but what kind of decision is this, right? If you're learning tarot with me or on your own or in other circles, so we got the Two of Swords. What kind of decision is this? It's one that comes at a cost, right? This is the swords, and we feel conflicted. Like, she's not super excited about this decision. It's not the Seven of Cups where all things are possible and there's many, many things coming our way. This is like, okay, I've got to think about this, right? All right, Gemini, so we're going to acknowledge that. Because I dropped the whole deck, I'm going to shuffle a little bit more. Christy's a Virgo from Oklahoma. Welcome. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you too. Oh my gosh, Ashley, Virgo. Virgos are dominating. I love it. Good to see you guys. Laura from Prague. Hi. We're digging a little bit deeper right now with our Gemini. Okay, what do they need to hear? All right. So this heavier decision, right, was followed by the Lover's card. So what are you going to tell somebody? If you're doing this reading, what are you going to tell them? That they've got this decision to make, and it's about what? The Lovers. So old tarot the Lovers had to do with business. So some of you Geminis might relate to that. Like, there are some business decisions that are being made that are kind of out of my control, and I'm kind of in self-reliance and trying to figure it out with my logical brain, and that's not working. So I'm having to take a step back, and that's uncomfortable because I don't know how it's going to go. That's one way you could play with this reading. If not business, of course, there's two naked people here, right? So relationship issues, right? Having to kind of weigh things, pros and cons, right? There is a feeling of boredom and stagnation, and there is a desire to take a risk or a leap of faith. So Gemini, don't worry, for you this decision is happening fast. Whereas Taurus needed to pause, Gemini, you're ready to make this decision. You're ready to have this conversation. You're ready to pull the trigger. Just trust yourself. You were born wise. You know the answer. Okay? All right. Margaret from Seattle, Capricorn. Yay, it's somebody's daughter's birthday today. You know, and it's her 15th birthday, so I encourage you to do something really special. In so many cultures, the 15th birthday, and on an eclipse, like how radical is that? Like a lot of cultures will do a ritual to mark the 15th birthday. I'm thinking right now of the quinceañera, right? But there's many other cultures that mark that. So we think of the Sweet 16 in my culture, but really there's something about 15 that for young women, you know, if you can do something super cool for her, like maybe you get her teachers to write some words of wisdom, or maybe there's some females in her life that she looks up to that could take her out, that's not really you, that marks a ritual, a ending of her childhood in a positive way, wraps it up with a bow, and now she's setting out on the course of young womanhood. It's a very exciting day to have that. Oh my gosh, Shelton, another Virgo. Yes, hi. All right. And Angelique is in New Mexico. We've just enjoyed a lot of time there. Nice to see you. We're moving on now to Cancer. So clearing for Cancer. What do our Cancer friends need to know or hear? What do our Cancer friends need to hear? Just a fun reading. We can all keep this light. If something speaks to you, great. If it doesn't resonate, that's okay too, right? All right, clearing for Cancer. Having some fun. All right. South Africa. Hi. Hi, Lynette, Libra. Nice to meet you. See you in here. Okay, Cancer. Clearing for Cancer. Okay. I don't like the way that, like, too many of them fell out. I'm just going to give it a big shuffle. So I hope to see some of you in my astrology class in a couple of hours. We've got maybe 25, 30 people signed up. It's going to be a good one. If you've missed it, there will be another later this fall. Okay, give us something good for Cancers. Let's see. No, you haven't missed Libra. We are going in order, Aries through Pisces, and we're on Cancer, which is number 4. So Cancer, Justice card. You know, this comes when we're trying to be the karma police, because you feel like you want to right or wrong, because you can see kind of right and wrong. And this is a really important card to get so that you don't step into somebody's karma, so that you don't enable another person, so that you don't rescue somebody from a situation or lesson that they were intended to learn the hard way. You know, so that's one big message for you, Cancer. You're learning how to be the star of your life. It was upside down. So you don't feel like you're shining your best light right now, and you're just learning how to be the star of your own life. Okay, so that's how I'm going to interpret that for you. You do have an Ace of Cups, so it's like falling in love with yourself has to come first, and giving yourself time, giving yourself priorities. You know, that's going to be the way that you find stability through mobility. All right, so self-love, self-care, self-priority, and just kind of staying out of other people's business for a little bit. If there's something that you feel you could do better, you probably could, but they don't necessarily need to hear it. They kind of need to go through life on their own terms somewhat, right? You end up hobbling them. It's like when a chicken is trying to hatch. If you crack the shell open for them, they haven't got to experience those muscles. They haven't bust through the shell themselves. They haven't had to have that growing experience. If you cut open a cocoon before it's ready to fly, you damage it and it can't fly, right? So in the same way that we think we're helping, you know, we end up hurting. And it's weird because we're such nourishers. You know, I'm saying this about the Cancer tribe. I'm not a Cancer. I'm just being inclusive. All right. And Camden is putting in some cool traditions. Thank you for those comments. And Griselle, Gemini in Milwaukee. Awesome. We're moving now into Leo. So clearing for Leo. I'm sorry if I've missed you. I'm not intentionally missing anybody. The comments come in kind of staggered for me. So we're clearing for Leo. What do our Leo friends need to hear? Something good for our Leos. Clearing for them. Okay. Okay. Seven of Coins. We've got the Empress. What else do we need to know? The Sun. All right. These are both cards of incubation. So the Seven of Coins, she's planted her seeds. She's waiting on the harvest. This is a message of faith and patience. So if you find yourself being intolerant, impatient, inflexible, tapping your foot, Leos, it's just time to wait it out. You have done the legwork already. You know, when you plant a seed, you can't hurry up the sun and you can't hurry up the water. You just have to sit there and wait for it and trust that it is going to grow. My seeds all had almost 100% growth rate this year for the first time. Now, they didn't all make it as seedlings because I moved them out into the world. Maybe too soon, I don't know, but the growth rate is interesting this year. So having that faith and knowing that the seeds that you have planted are gonna come through. You're in maybe a 9-week, 9-month waiting period. Okay, you're in a fertility phase. All right, and then the Sun is here. So I think that all your seeds that you're planting are going to come true for you. So Leos, if you're making any special wishes today on this eclipse, you know, give it 9 months. Give it a 9-month lifespan. Okay, now we are doing, after Leo is number 6, so Virgo. I know that's the majority of the audience today. So welcome, Virgo Nation. Sometimes it's that way. Virgo is represented by the Virgin. Virgo has a lot of gifts, and I would say the challenges of Virgo are mostly self-oriented. They're not typically on bad behavior with other people unless they've got something internal going on with themselves. So the Virgos have a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, and let's see how they can best use them. So just a fun reading for our Virgo friends that are watching. No pressure, Tiffany. No pressure, Spirit. Okay. Okay. So Virgo, there's a lot of people in these cards. There's a lot of, so I am gonna redraw, but I am gonna read what I got. So the first one is the King of Swords. To me, this means you've had to be the leader. You've had to rise to the occasion. You've had to be considerate and thoughtful in a way that you haven't before. Either that or you're called to. So there's 2 knights and a page. So there's some real immature energy behind your reading here. And it's like you have got to see this from the bird's eye view perspective. So I would say with this, take nothing personally. Remember that if you're brushing up against other people or problems or challenges, just remember to take nothing personally. That is their stuff, and you're gonna let it just slide off your back like Teflon, like rain on a tin roof. You know, you're just gonna be the thought leader, and you know, if somebody's having a hard time, you can just witness for them. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to change anything. You can remove yourself if it's too much of this going on. It might even kind of bore you to tears to watch some people do the same thing, and you're like, are you serious? You're still talking about that? But you, as the compassionate witness, can just say, sounds like you got some patterns coming up that you're really concerned about, you know? Have you thought about addressing it differently? And then give it back to them. Give them their power back so that you don't have to advise in a way that they feel like they're following the leader, right? Because then they get into good boy and good girl behavior. That's just like some background chatter for you. I think the bigger picture reading, here's the Chariot. You do have forward momentum. You have unseen helpers. And this, in my deck, it's swans that are pulling the Chariot. This can be a new car. This can be a road trip. This can be hitting send on an email that you've been wanting to send. This is going forward. This is pulling the arrow back and releasing it. All right, so the Chariot for you Virgos. Anything else? Thank you, Christy. Doing great. Thank you, Amy from the Leo. All right, anybody want to give me some Virgo feedback? Let's see what else we got for you guys. Yeah, I'm getting more of the same. I just think that these there's some immature energy. Like, I really don't like, you guys know that I hate this card. This is a card of the thief, or somebody just being deceptive with you. You could be the one being deceptive, right? That's for you to decide. But I really do think that you're just looking, you're just being called to be in more of a leadership position and not take things personally, not engage in the drama. That's how I would read that for me, and so that's how I'm going to share it for you Virgos. All right, clearing now for Libra. Now we've got some Libras here, so let's clear the deck for them. What do our Libra friends watching need to hear the most? Some easy advice for the weekend, some fun. They stopped killing flowers outside. There's still some left. Okay. Good feedback for Virgo. Okay, thank you. Camden, Bobby, Elizabeth, Debbie, all seems to fit. Phew, awesome. All right, let's look at Libra. What do our Libra friends need to hear? Okay. Okay. All right, so Libra, this Eight of Swords is you've been a prisoner of your own making. You know, you have kind of set some boundaries up, some walls up that are self-created, that are man-made. I'm just going to say they're not real. I'm not trying to, you know, say less of your experience, but that is kind of good news, really. Like any problems you're experiencing are because you've created them in your head. What is it about? It's about your ability to rise up at work. You know, you feel maybe like kind of stuck or imprisoned in a way, you know, or stagnant in some way. And it has to do with your ability to move forward successfully in terms of your job, career, where you make money. Something that you're committed to is you're feeling bound to it. That's another way you could interpret that. Okay, so Libra, you also get the King of Swords and the Temperance card and the High Priestess. So I know that you two are called to a different perspective. You know, this idea, your career, how you had it, is not playing out in the exact way that you had in mind. And actually, that's awesome. Actually, it's great. You know, actually, there's a magical third option that is even better than you could have ever imagined. Okay, so this is very, very good news. The High Priestess comes to remind you that you are, you know, God lives in your heart as you. So trusting yourself, trusting your intuition. Now, how can you do that if you're like feeling bound? And I'm telling you, it's your own fault. Like, how can you actually do that, right? Okay, so how you do that is you ask the unseen helpers to give you a magical third option, to put an idea in your head, to put somebody on your path, to have a conversation, to enlighten you, you know, and you can't necessarily go about it the same way. So I'm going to say do something different. If you always order coffee, order a tea. If you always turn left, turn right. If you always get out of the left side of the bed, get out of the right side of it, and start shaking up the energy just a little bit with something subtle and start looking for magical third solutions. All right, your job, this matches with the eclipse energy, right? So the eclipse energy says, let's rewrite the mission of our lives. And so maybe it's not what you had in mind, but maybe it's something better. All right. Deb, I am not in Belize. I'm actually in Colorado right now, and I live in Austin. And let's see. Thank you from Virgo. Okay, cool. After Libra comes Scorpio, so let's clear the deck for Scorpio. All right, Beth says she's a Libra and she needs the new road and she just can't see it yet. Perfect, so you're right on time. And this eclipse energy is can be intense and confusing, so just don't give up. You know, don't give up before the miracle happens. Take some time out, take a nap, do some yoga, meditate, rest. Don't like beat it to death. Like that's not how we get the information, right? We just have to lighten up, go easy, ask for help, and trust that it's coming. Grizel says we're spot on for Gemini. Thank you. Cool. Okay, so now we're moving into Scorpio. Scorpios, like me, what do we need to hear? What's the information for our Scorpios? I'm hoping we can do group readings like in person again at some point. I have some ideas for the parties that we used to do. But anyways, I'm also thinking about my new life purpose, right? Like my rewiring the vision. So I'm curious what the Scorpio reading has to say today. I'm going to set the intention that this isn't for me, but for all Scorpios watching, which includes me. Always hardest to read for yourself, right? I won't put that out there. Let me just erase. It's fun to read for yourself. You get new insights. Let's see. Okay. All right. We had a bunch fall out. I'm just shuffling. Right, let's do it in Colorado. I know, we're having a great time. Y'all, we went on this hike yesterday and it was sunny, beautiful, like 55, 60, snow on the ground, no rain in the forecast. Made it maybe 4.5 miles in and it started like pelting down snow and lightning, and the weather just turned on an instant, so we had to hang out in some trees for longer than I wanted to, but not a big deal, before we could safely get back down. I thought I was going to be like riding my wild experience instead of doing tarot today. Okay, sorry. Here we go. All right, so we got some coins here. We got some cups here. The Knight of Coins and the Nine of Coins. So these are two interesting energies. You know, this could be, I'm going to say coins are about our finances, our money, our securities, what makes us feel grounded, what makes us feel safe in a way. And this could be pointing to some immature decisions that you have made in the past that you are correcting now because you are trying to be a self-made person, that you are trying to, this is, Nine of Coins is a woman who stands on her own 2 feet. She doesn't require help. She doesn't get loans. You know, unless she knows she can pay them off, right? So this just shows to me that maybe some of us are paying off some former debts. Some of us are cleaning up our finances simply by looking at our budgets. This is very normal during the Venus retrograde period, especially for Scorpios. Scorpios, you got 2 King cards and 2 Knight cards. So I know that kind of your lower self and your higher self are at a battle with each other, and it's like, but I want to do it this way. But here's the higher road, but I want to do it this way and screw it, you know, but what does it mean if I, you know, like, there's this kind of internal dialogue going on. I do want to get a little bit more information about that. I want to just give somebody 4 court cards and say have a good weekend, right? Okay. Yeah, and sometimes you can feel alone, you know, in the process. Sometimes you can feel like it's you against the world or you're not supported. Well, have you, okay, I just got the same exact 4 people. Weird. Have you been inclusive? Have you asked somebody their point of view? Here are the Knights, here are the Kings. So this is 4 men in your life. 2 dads, 2 uncles, 2 granddads, 2 young men, 2, I don't know, immature, like, again, I gotta find a better word, not grown up yet men. Why? Why are they there? Okay, well, it says take a risk, Scorpio. So if you're having this dialogue between yourself, what's the riskier one? What's the one that feels like you're asking fate to lead instead of you? You know, where can you let go of some of your self-reliance and let your guardians, your ancestors, your lineage lead you? Okay. Clearing now for Sagittarius. Clear for Sag. What do our Sag friends need to know we're here? My legs have fallen completely asleep, so I'm just rolling with it. You know when you've done that and you like don't want to be the girl moving in yoga class? So you just write it out. You breathe. All right, clearing for Sag. What do our Sag friends need to hear? Something good for Sag. Practical advice for the weekend. Something fun. Let's see. All right, so we've got, here's this idea, like you're still trying to find your way. You're still trying to find stability through mobility. And, you know, it's not working for you so much. Okay, so what you thought was going to be stability through mobility has kind of put you in a cage in some ways. And it's like, it's just not exactly what you had in mind. All right. The Hanged Man is here, so it's like don't necessarily change anything right now, but you do need to work on a new plan that is kind of yours, you know. So what is it that you want to do, so that you can live the life that you want to live? This is one precious human life. The majority of lessons or messages that I get from our spirit people, those that have crossed over when I'm doing mediumship readings, is to live your life to the fullest. So if you never get a mediumship reading from me, that's a great message to take away from, right? Live your life to the fullest and stop putting yourself in a box based on other people's expectations, because this is your life. Okay, clearing now for Capricorn. You can't hear the weed eater, good. All right, Eva's Capricorn. I know I saw some other ones. Let's clear for Capricorn. Okay, we get the Hierophant. We get the Ten of Swords. La, scary. And we get the Two of Wands. All right, so you've just been committed to something that has just been too heavy. You've been in the wrong job for a long time, the wrong relationship for a long time, right? You have just been doing like whatever you've been committed to or devout to has just been hard and heavy and energy draining, and you're just kind of done with it. You've had enough, and you're ready to take a new course of action. You need to stop thinking about it and just go for it. This is a fight not worth having, because nobody wins. You've said everything you need to say. There is just this kind of fear of being stuck and being, you know, in somebody's really bad energy, like bleh. Like you're just in some kind of energy that's not working for you. It could be self-created, right? And you are choosing to live or work where you are. So in some ways it is, and you just want to start to take back full responsibility. That empowers you, all right? And then you're going to get your wish. 9 of Cups. All right, clearing now for Aquarius. Hi, Terry and Stuart. Good to see you guys. I noticed that you are fans of some of the places we went to in Santa Fe. The Oxygen Bar was pretty rad. I had never done that before. I understand why people do it. So good to see you. Susan is a Sag in Baltimore. Hi, April. And okay, I think that's it on the messages. So we're clearing now for Aquarius. So we're just going to see what fun advice we have for Aquarius. What do they need to hear? That one wants to come out. 2 came out. Okay, so Aquarius, we've got this card of generosity, of connecting with a childhood friend or somebody with a shared history. A blast from the past may show up. You might hear from somebody you haven't heard from in a long time. You might be thinking about somebody you haven't heard from a long time. This is your message to reach out. This is your message to connect with them. You know, connect with them in the heart space, connect with them on FaceTime, connect with them however you want. It can be a silent connection, but I would encourage you to just pick up the phone and reach out to that person. The Tower card is here too. So your world is changing. The foundation is shaken and you are rebuilding something, and it can be quite uncomfortable at times. Sometimes Aquarius are good with that. But I do see that in addition, you know, once you've had this heart connection with the people in your life from the past that you just love, you know, that you just remember enjoying so much, I do want you to take some alone time. I said I wasn't going to move, but I really can't feel my feet. So Aquarius, definitely take some time to yourself too. The hermit needs to go be alone before he can come back in partnership. So what you're rebuilding is yourself. So some of you might have been experiencing a dark night of the ego, crisis, a perceived crisis at work, a perceived crisis with your relationship, and you're just kind of starting from scratch. So what better place to start than that place of pure childhood wonder? You know, what did you remember doing? So maybe nobody comes to mind, but maybe a thing does. Like for me, I used to love picking the honeysuckle by our mailbox and like eating it and thinking, like in my mind, I was getting like gallons of honey, but it's like just kind of a hint, right? So for me, I would be like, okay, yeah, childlike wonder. That's how I'm going to tune into that energy, and that's how I'm going to rebuild and move forward. Because you're not going to rebuild and move forward if you're like really sad and cranky and depressed, and only you can shift that. And I'm not suggesting that you shift it sooner than you need to. Everybody needs to process in their own time, but at the same time, like, you do want to move through it so that you can connect with something that really brings you a lot of joy, and have a new experience, right? This doesn't mean you have to change jobs or anything, or relationships. You can, but it just means that you're rebuilding yourself, and so the frequencies are going to change, and everybody else is either going to get on board or not, and that's going to be clear for you. All right, clearing for who is it? Pisces. We just did Aquarius, so Pisces next. Michelle, awesome. I would love to read privately for you. I will put my link, my scheduling link, in the comments if you'd like to do a private reading. All right, clearing for Pisces. What do we have for our Pisces friends? Sun in Pisces, Moon in Pisces. Oops, okay, these fell out. Cool, we haven't had these yet. The Magician and the Ace of Cups. So you are working on transforming something that you had as an idea into the physical world, right? Like you have thought about this for a long time, it's been heavy on your heart, and you're ready to bust a move and show the world what you got, you know? So this is exciting. This can be a launch, this can be a new love, this can be a new passion project, this can be, you know, finding something that lights you up inside, that illuminates you. And you've been stirring it around up here, and now you're making it so down here. So it's happening fast. It feels good, and it feels financially fruitful. All right, King of Coins. It might take a little money to get there, but it does feel financially fruitful. So maintain your position of leadership. You don't necessarily need a partner here. You don't need a board of directors. You don't need somebody else to tell you what to do. You need to be clear about that. All right. And it does feel like, here we got this a third time, it does feel like you are making this decision alone. And in this case, I'm going to say, yes, make this decision alone. Don't let other people weigh in and throw you off course. You know, you're right on the verge of a huge breakthrough for you personally. Like maybe this is the first time you've ever done that, and you're like, I'm doing this for me. Or maybe you have a lot of experience doing things for you. But this is a symbol, significant of as above, so below. What you've been conjuring up is coming true, and it's on point with your life mission. All right, who am I to say these things, right? Like, how do I know? I'm just a tarot reader. I do evidential mediumship work. I read astrology. If you want to read my forecasts, they are at wiseguysadvice.com. I teach a yin yoga class on Monday nights through Del Sol. So DelSolAustin.com has my classes on Monday nights. I do webinars every once in a while. Today's Astrology 101. But if I haven't met you before, I'm so glad you're here. My background, I have a master's degree in health psychology, and I've studied yogic philosophy and astrology for 20 years. My psychic gifts came from a near-death experience, and it is a life's work. It is a life's dedication to service, and I hope that's what you've experienced with me today. I would love your tips in the virtual tip jar. If you don't Venmo, I can accept through PayPal or something else. And if you're not in a position to tip, or you haven't enjoyed it, just pay it forward out there. Buy somebody a coffee, you know, throw a kindness out there. Let somebody in front of you in traffic. These are tense times, and we need all of our light workers standing firm, supporting each other, speaking their truth, and just allowing for more kindness out in the world. Okay, Marilyn, I did do some thoughts at the beginning with the full moon eclipse in Sagittarius, so you might want to watch it from the beginning. Jennifer says, awesome for Pisces. There's some thank yous in there. Okay, guys, I'm seeing some of these come through, and I really appreciate it. It is always an honor to work with you and for you through the kind of, I don't know, through the tarot. It's fun. I hope you've had a good time, and until next Friday, namaste.